my friends. Welcome back to my channel. And we are on part 3 of Feeling Cuddly. We got a lot more done last time than I thought that I would get done, so that's a good thing. Yay. Today we're going to work on the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And I suspect that we will finish it off with the background. So let's get started. Let's see, I need to get this up a little higher. How about that? All right, so I've pulled out some colors that I think I'm going to use. I picked one of each of all of the grays. So I have 30% warm gray, 30% French gray, and 50% cool gray. And then I also have beige, burnt sienna, and espresso. If I need to add more colors in there, I will, but I kind of don't think that I'm going to need to do that. Black plus black. Let's see, I'm gonna get that out here. Where's my black? Too many projects going on at one time. Okay, plus black. All right. Let's see. I tend to start at the nose and the eyes and work my way out. So I guess that's what we'll do. I guess I better add white to my list of colors. And maybe maybe we'll do, oh, let's see, let's try, I'm tempted to go slate gray. All right, so I'm also going to add white and slate gray in the mix. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. We'll have to see. So we want the nose to look shiny. If we can. It's kind of a little nose, so sometimes, again, you lose some detail ability when things are smaller. And I'm just taking my sandpaper here and running my pencil across it, and that gives me a really nice sharp point without having to put it through the electric pencil sharpener. So I'm going to go ahead and put some little white dots on his nose. And he's also got some shiny bits right here. And maybe a little bit on either side of that center line there. Okay, so this is where I thought I might use the slate gray. Because a lot of the times the noses look so much better if they have a little bit of color on the top of them. And in this case, I like that slate gray. It's really subtle. It's still kind of neutral and gray, but it's got a little bit of blue to it, which I really like. All right, so I'm going to just put some. Now, if you are working on the lighter grayscale, you're going to have to come in here and add a lot more black. Because his nose, I believe, is quite a bit lighter on the light version. So just be aware. All right, so I guess we'll just keep going and do the eyes too. I'm going to, this is a case where I'm pretty much making it really easy for you to do a dog, because I kind of feel like all the work is done, mostly. which sometimes is good, and sometimes we like that. Sometimes we want to be able to do a little bit more. So really, I think the lighter grayscale might allow you to do a little bit more stuff, but I wanted to change things up a little bit and do the meat, or I'm sorry, I don't know what I just said. The lighter grayscale will give you more stuff to do on the page because there's not as much dark in the dog. Okay, I want to add some sky blue light, PC 1080, I think it's 1086. I'm going to put that here on top of the white. I probably should have just gone straight for this color. I wasn't thinking until I looked at the eyes and went, gosh, there's hardly any interesting color in there. So the sky blue light will give you a little bit of extra oomph. All right, so I'm kind of debating on whether to even bother putting any more dark in underneath his nose here, because it's pretty much the way I want it as far as these hairs go under the nose. All right, so let's, it still looks so weird because it's like I haven't done anything. There's no color on him yet. All right, let's take our 50% cool gray. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the grays in first. And then we're going to blend over everything with the white. And that should soften and hopefully make it look more like fur. So I'm pretty much just almost glazing this 50% cool gray in here with little strokes. I don't want his face to be pure white. So we're just putting a little bit of, we're just tinting that down a little bit. And then let's go ahead and do the burnt sienna. Again, straight, light, feathered strokes in here and in the bottom of his lip. Cavaliers are on my short list for the next dog that I would like to own. I don't think I will live a long enough life to have all of the dogs that I would like to have in that lifetime, unfortunately. But I sure do love cavies. I've always loved them. Maybe we'll do 2 dogs next time we decide to do a dog. We'll get, you know, one for me and one for Steve. Our sweet little Cooper, we've talked about getting another dog, and I think Cooper would object. I think Cooper would object. He likes being the center of attention in our household, and I think if I were to add another canine family member, he would get jealous. So we're gonna just keep Cooper for as long as our lives are blessed to have him, and then maybe we'll think about getting more than one dog again. All right, so where was I going to put this? Oh, yes, I had a reason for wanting this to be nice and sharp. So I'm going to put this down in here under the eyes. Am I ready to start spreading out? I am. I might be a little bit all over the place while I do him, just because like there's certain areas that I want to see what they look like before I move on and do another area. So just bear with me. That looks good. Putting those light colors down on top of Greyscale really work nicely to lighten things up. Not just on these areas that are light, but also any area that just looks too dark to you. Just put a light color down first and it will really make a difference. So I'm putting the hairs here that are going above his eye, and I'm doing it with short flicky hair stroke motions. We still always want to go, we always want to make our pencil strokes mimic what the hair would be doing. So like in here, it's quite dark in here. I would like to put a few highlighted areas, a few more hairs that are going to break that dark up. So just a few flicks with this beige. And then when I come in and add this, it's not just a solid color. There's a little bit of a lighter color in here as well. We can go back and forth until we get it the way we want it. So I worked this way into this highlighted or lighter colored hair on top of the eye, and then I'm going to come in from the other direction and work in this way. Like that. So again, I'm going to put in a little bit of this lighter color right here. Even though I do want that to be dark, I want it to be broken up a little bit. Okay, that's actually going to be quite dark. This is actually going to be a espresso right here. I might feather that into the hair below it a little bit. And do a little bit of that dark in here too. Okay. I want to work down here a little bit more still. This coloring on his face. Now that I've got this done with the Sienna Brown, I'm almost feeling like it might be a little bit too dark. So I'm going to try some of this burnt ochre. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it up here. I mean, it's not a problem. It's fine. But it was very brown. See, that actually adds a little bit of nice golden tone. I like that. We're going to add a little bit of this in here. So continuing on with the burnt ochre here. I think we'll use a combination of both the burnt sienna and the burnt ochre. I don't want that quite as dark. All right, let's do some beige up here. So his face is not super symmetrical. He's got, as far as coloring goes, he's got a little bit of variety of color from side to side. All right, let's try the burnt ochre. Because again, I didn't write down what colors I used. I don't have the actual reference photo in front of me, so. That looks nice. I think I might leave that edge there alone and bring some white into that edge right there. I also have to remember that the colors that I use on straight white paper are going to be different than the colors. They're going to come out looking a little different than the colors are going to look when there's grayscale underneath it. Okay, so I think I'm going to pull out something else. What else? Let me try a little bit of light umber. I'm coming in this direction because I want to try and make sure that the hairs that are here that are going to be white kind of look like they're going over the darker hair. All right, let me see what this color looks like straight. It's almost not quite. It's not quite red enough, but on the other hand, I'm kind of thinking that it might be nice as a base. So let me see now if I put some burnt ochre in here. All right, well, I didn't put any beige. I should probably get some beige in here. So let's treat this just like we would treat human hair. Put some highlighty bits in here. All right, let's put a little bit of light umber in here. I'm almost just glazing it in here. I'm not applying a heavy pressure. And because the pattern is already down, I don't really have to worry about too much about following the direction until I get kind of down in here. All right, burnt ochre. Now I want to follow the direction. Some more beige. Actually, I want to see what it looks like if I put some white in here. I probably should have put a little bit of white. That's showing up pretty well. I think that's because of the grayscale underneath. All right, and then let's do some burnt sienna. Actually, in the case of his ears, I think I want a little bit more of this. Okay, a little bit more of the beige. Let's do a little espresso. That looks pretty good. So I'm just taking my white and making some zigzag motions just to see if I can get it to give this fur a little fuzzy movement. Not fuzzy, you know, like their fur is not necessarily super straight, so I just want to put a little texture in there. I like the way that looks. All right, so need to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, I was going to add some white first, but since this is the darker side, I think I will not. We'll just put our beige in. See these little squiggly lines here in the hair. That's what I did with the slice tool when I first did him. So I think in this case, I'm going to use that. All right, so now we have some light umber. And some burnt ochre. And some Sienna Brown, PC 945. Let's go over the any dark grayscale with this color. It's nice and red, so it'll counteract that gray. All right, and then I want to just put a little finish down there. And I think I may use maybe some beige, bring this down a little bit further. That looks better. Okay, so what do we need? Espresso. So espresso. All right, I'm going to put just a little bit more of this burnt ochre. I think that looks okay. All right, let's continue on and do the rest of the red, and then this is all going to be shades of our grays. So, what is this? This is burnt ochre. Is that what I want? Let's start with a little bit of beige. Make just some little highlighty lines there. And then the burnt ochre. So I'm going to come in this way so that my pencil is feathering into the white. I think that's mostly all we're going to need. This is the Sienna Brown. Just come in a little bit. All right, let's do some espresso. I think that's fine. Okay, so 3 different colors of gray. There's going to be no rhyme or reason to how I put these down. I just wanted it to be a little bit more interesting than a solid, not solid because obviously there's white, but I wanted lots of color variation, and we get, you know, our cool, our bluey gray, our purpley gray with the warm, and our brownish taupey gray with our French gray. So this is 50% cool. This is kind of already here for me. So I can, all right, now we've got this hair in here, which are like curled tufts of hair. So we have to put our grays in the shadows. Actually, I think I want to use warm gray on his belly because it's a little bit purpley, a little bit pinky colored, you know. And it seems like those are the tones that we get on the belly, kind of pinky. Let's mix a little bit of this in with this cool gray that's here. I think we'll go back to the cool gray under here. Going to add a little bit right in here to shorten this curl. And then I think just some random lines, just kind of filling that in with just some hair, straight lines, just kind of randomly in there. And then we want some over here. Maybe I put that a little bit too dark. Did I? No, you know what I want? I want some white hairs coming across here. Try and get those. Maybe it'll fill in better when I start putting the white on. Back to 30% warm gray. That's pretty close. Let's okay, I'm going to with the 50% cool, very softly I'm going to shade this side of his leg. And even though we have this shadow here, I still think that I want to shade this side of his leg a little bit. All right, let's break out our white and see what we get. So I'm going to treat this just like it's a color that I can see, and I'm going to use it going the direction of the hairs. And when I'm doing this, it's also softening the grays that I've put down. Just going to put in a few stray hairs on top of the sweater. So this part, we just want a soft. And then back to the hair flicking. And if we have a nice sharp edge, you can also, this is coming right over the color. Again, I think because of the grayscale. And so we see all those loose flyaway hairs coming into the body. Got a little bit of the burnt sienna on my pencil when I was doing that, so it transferred into the hair, but I don't mind that even a little bit. I don't mind that. I think it looks right. I'm almost tempted to add some, and I probably shouldn't. I know I probably shouldn't. I'm going to just glaze a tiny little bit of the burnt sienna right in here. Just tint that hair a little bit. All right, so I'm debating on going a little bit darker now, so 70% cool gray. Right up in here. Okay, I want to bring this white bit up a little bit. I'm going to bring this with 50% cool gray. I think that's better. Okay, so he needs some whiskers, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the whiskers just with my white pencil. Let's just see what happens. Well, look at that. I think that worked just fine. Have your pencil be nice and sharp. That's going to make a difference. And it worked. It worked fine doing it that way. They're not going to show up obviously down here on the white hair, but I think they showed up enough for me to be happy. If you're not happy, if you feel like, oh, I don't like my whiskers, or I want the whiskers to show up better, here's my suggestion for whiskers, because I find that Posca and gel pens, they just don't work. I mean, we all know it. Everybody knows it. They're great for putting small little dots and little highlights and things like that. But if you want a nice, straight, long line, Posca pens and gel pens are a pain in the you-know-what. So I just happen to have this out, so I'll show you guys this again. Even though I'm not going to demonstrate it, I will show you what I would use if that hadn't worked. It's by Brush and Pencil. It's called Color Pencil Touch-Up Texture and Color Pencil Titanium White. And you put a little bit of this on like a, paper plate, just a little bit, and a little bit of powder, and you mix them together until you get a nice, almost like an ink consistency. And then you can take a long, fine brush and just paint that on. And it's a really wonderful product. And it works great for if you ever make a big mistake, a big boo-boo, and you've colored something completely the wrong color, and you're just, we all know how that feels. We've all done it. You can paint that on top of the area that you've colored the wrong color, let it dry thoroughly, and then you can put colored pencil right over the top of it, and it sticks. And grabs, because it puts some actual tooth back in as well, as opposed to like, a Posca pen or you know, one of those things. I think it would be probably, I haven't tried it, but I think it would be really good to use for when for in coloring books, if the lines are too thick or you want to remove some lines, that touch-up texture stuff will work really, really well. Okay, so there's our little cavi. He came out good. I'm happy with the way he looks. And so now I'm going to do the background. Before I do the oil pastels, because that's what I'm going to use for this outer edge, I'm going to do pink on the inside. And I'm thinking I'm going to use this... hold that thought. I have to decide. Do I want to use... I could either use the same Deco Peach that we did the hat in, or I could use Deco Pink and make it a little bit pinker. That's a hard decision. Let me think about that for a minute. Yeah, I'll have to decide on that. And I'm also going to be literally just filling in. I didn't want to use gelatos for this. I want to have a little bit more control over where that pencil goes, and so that I can get, you know, nice and deep in here. And I think what I'll do is I'll just do a speed through on this, because again, literally all I'm doing is coloring a solid color all inside this box. So once I decide if I'm going to use the pink or the peach, I will show you what I'm using, and then I will color this all in, and then we'll come back and do the outer background. All right, so I'm thinking about maybe some white, just to blend, and I don't know if it's going to make any difference or not though, so let me just... I'll leave it up to you whether you guys want to use white now on top of this or not. It does soften things down a little bit, so I do like the way it looks. It kind of smushes and blends those two colors together. The peach was too peach, and the pink would have been too pink. So I really like the mix of the two colors. It gives me just kind of that light pink, kind of ballet pink almost, I guess. All right, I like that. So my plan is that I'm going to leave this border white. I am not going to put any color on it. And I am going to do the outer border in a blue-gray oil pastels. So hopefully it will go a little bit smoother than it did the last time I tried using oil pastels. And I think that I'm debating on what you'll be able to see. I think I'll leave it this at this zoom. I don't know what to call it. I'll leave it at to where this is the size that you'll see it at, and I'm just going to work it, and I'll move the paper around so that you can see what I'm doing. So I have my Caran d'Ache palette and my oil pastel, and this is which color is this? Just gray. They're just calling it gray, and I'm just going to get some of it down here on the palette. That's good. And then I have my odorless mineral spirits, and they're just in a little ramekin like this. After the last debacle, I'm nervous, but we'll just... it'll be okay. So I'm just dipping my brush in the odorless mineral spirits, and then I'm putting that mixture, swirling it through the oil pastels, and then we're just going to paint. This is stupid to be so nervous. Then we're just going to paint it on. So here we go. So my goal here is to get not a super even coat. I want it to be kind of blotchy almost. I don't know how to describe it. It won't be a super smooth even coat. It will be kind of a, painterly, well, I'll show you what I mean once I get a little bit more of this done. Now I'm going to be very cautious about the edge here. I don't want to go over the edge. I am going to use some gold watercolors, I think, over the top of that line. But I just want to be careful. We get to not thinking about what we're doing sometimes. At least I do. And I just start swirling away, la-di-da, and then all of a sudden I've gone over the edge. And if I go over the edge, that will completely ruin what I want. because there'll be no covering that up. But this is looking good. I'm happy with the coverage that I'm getting there. All right, am I still in frame? Yes. So on my original version of this, I tried what is that, like double sticky tape that you might use in scrapbooking, like the really skinny thin tape. And I put some of that down on this line, and I used gold leaf on top of it. And the concept was really good because I got a really nice straight, perfectly straight line of gold leaf. But the problem with it that I did not like about it was really quite raised, you know, from the tape being, you know, thicker than anything that we would paint on here. And where the edges, where the tape came together in the corners, in order to get it to cover well, it almost had to overlap there as well. So the idea was I guess it wasn't good because I didn't like the way it worked, but I liked the look of the gold leaf being all nice and perfectly straight and beautiful. But I'm not going to do that here. We're going to use those gold metallic watercolors, and I'm going to test I want to test the steadiness of my hand because it's going to be free-handed. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more oil pastel on the palette. Careful. See, I just went, look at that. Okay, so I can see now, you guys maybe have been looking at it already. I can see where my odorless mineral spirits have seeped slightly into the white part. So I need to be a little bit more careful about how wet. And this would only be an issue. This is only an issue because I want this center section to be white. If I was putting color on it, it would not be an issue at all. And who knows, I may have to change my plan if, when that dries, if that doesn't dry white, that might bug me. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I am going to turn her upside down because I'm right-handed. I need to be able to work this way. So sorry about that, but we're going to have to go upside down. So today was very, very cool, and it's one of the first days that I haven't needed my fan in my studio. And I'm sitting here and I'm working and I'm thinking to myself, Why does it seem so quiet? Well, that's why, because my fan's not going, and it's just, it's so quiet in here. This will be interesting. Well, I did it before. I should be able to do it again. There we go. All right, I'm not stopping. I hope I'm not out of, well, I was out of frame a little bit, but I was getting such a good, like, that line was going straight down and working really well. I didn't want to stop. See how we're doing. I think I'm going to come back in again. There's some areas where it's just a little bit too uneven. So I can come back in with my color. I could tap it with my finger if I wanted to. Okay, make sure, go slow. All right, let's do a little bit more. I might be able to get away with putting white pencil over the top of that white. Because there's nothing super dark to have to worry about covering up. I feel like I want to zoom out. I'm almost too close now, so you guys can kind of see the full picture. If I do that though, well, I can pull the camera away further. you guys have already experienced how zooming in and out can change the lighting and the white balance. All right. So I'm going to, I'm going to turn the camera off, pull back a little bit. And I think that I'm looking at this going, I need to make a few changes to this. It's not bad, but it's not exactly the way I want it either. So let me do that and I will be right back. Okay, so I know that I went over this with 2 layers of the oil pastel, and I did that. What is that? I did that because there were some areas that were looking, they were too uneven. But what happened when I did that was that I lost the kind of swirly mottled look that I wanted. So, as you can see, I'm taking my white pencil and I'm just going over the top, and I'm just doing a little swirly little swirly strokes. You can see what I'm doing, but what that's giving me then is that a little bit more mottled, a little more texture look that I really wanted in the first place. And this is doing exactly what I wanted it to do, and it's really fast and simple. So we'll just do this. I think maybe some of the oil pastel is coming off, because I can kind of see a little bit of it on the tip of my pencil. Totally fine. This is exactly what I want it to be doing. And yes, this is exactly the look that I wanted. So I feel much happier now. Much better. I might just try using my eraser. Looks like I got a little smudge on my white. And I'm actually going to go over the sweater with a little bit firmer, pressure to see if I can soften that edge a little bit. Not sure if it's doing any good or not. Wanted to see if I could make that look a little fluffier. But I don't think it's helping, so. Okay, that is much better. All right, so I'm going to pull out my gold watercolors and probably erase that little smudge mark there, and get ready to do the gold. I'm debating now that we've got most of the page done, if I want to come in and continue to darken her face just a little bit more in the center there. So I may do that, kind of let that sink in and decide if that's the direction that I want to go or not. But anyway, I will be back shortly and we'll get this page finished up. Alrighty, so I have my my watercolors. These are the watercolors by KJ Designs by Karen, and that I got from Etsy. And I've been trying two different brushes. One is a longer brush, one is a shorter brush, and I feel like I have better control with the shorter brush. Okay, so I'm a little nervous about this because, you know, I want these lines to be really straight. And if I was using a pen, I could probably just put a flat blade, you know, a flat edge down and paint it, you know, go along the flat edge. But because I'm painting it, I don't want to run the risk of the paint bleeding underneath. So I need to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to paint it and hope that I get what I want. It's possible that these lines are going to get thicker and thicker because I have to come in and touch up my shoddy line work. Hopefully not. So, you know, for you guys, do what you feel comfortable doing. Use what you feel comfortable using. And that's all I can say about that. Trying to get a feel for what's see. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. This may be painful to watch. All right, I think I'm going to call that line good. The problem is that I've tried those metallic, gold metallic pens. I've tried the gold metallic Prismacolor. Nothing looks as nice as these gold paints. Looks as, gold. They all have kind of a really dull look to them when they're on. I'm staying on the white part as best I can, because going over the oil pastels with these watercolors would not be as, it would not work very well. And if I can get them on with as little, you want to use as little water as possible, just enough water to have the paint go off the brush smoothly, but not so much that it moves and bleeds. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get the paint to start coming off the brush. It's working okay, though. It's not too bad. Okay, so far so good. So there's this little piece of watercolor right there. The product, it's kind of a little clump. It's a little piece of it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let everything dry. And I'm going to try just picking it off with maybe some tweezers or something sharp, not a brush. I want to try and make it go away. And I don't want to make a mess. There's really no changing it once it gets down. It's pretty much, so if you can't just can't just manipulate it and make the line be skinnier by pushing on it. Okay, one more. the nerves. Okay. All right. I think that that's not too shabby. And the yeah, so now it's nice and flat down on the page as opposed to that raised gold leaf, which I just was not crazy about. I think that, I mean, even though she's pretty good the way she is right now, I feel like I want to do a little more color in her face. I don't know what that will be. Burnt ochre, burnt sienna. That's kind of the direction that I'm thinking that I want to be. I don't think light umber. Maybe luminance. You know, the luminance has that nice. Oh, let me just see. Maybe I'll try the luminance. Warm earth 40%. And I'm not going to change the angle of my camera. I'm just going to let it, you know, I'm going to let it roll right the way it is right now. I'm flat on my thing as opposed to up at an angle as I usually am when I film. I feel like she needs some more freckles, so I'm going to take my Sienna Brown. Let's go back to this dark flesh, warm earth, 40%. Yeah, I think that's what she needed, just a little bit. A little bit more color right there in the middle of her face, and maybe even, we might even do a little bit more up here. So I'm happier with that. All right, guys. I'm debating now on how I feel about this, because the lines of the and I know you don't see it, but the lines on the original page were much thicker because of the size of that tape. And I really liked the thickness of those lines. A lot. So I'm not going to do it on camera because you've seen it done. I mean, you don't need to see me doing it, but I do think I'm going to come back in with my watercolors and thicken those lines in, make this white line thinner, make the gold lines thicker. And I'm just going to do that the exact same way of what you saw me just do. And then after I do that, there's that little, after I do that, then I will photograph it, and that's what I'll show you guys at the end of the video. So I think that's what I'm missing. I think that's the reason that I'm not 100% in love, because those lines are just not thick enough for me. So I'm going to do that, and that will be the end of this tutorial. I'll show you it at the end. And thanks so much for being here. I always appreciate your comments, your likes. Yeah, and I love seeing your finished pages. So don't forget to tag me on Facebook or on Instagram at Art by Karen Valentine. And if you post them on Facebook, if you use the at Art by Karen Valentine, you'll tag me, that way as well, so that I can see what your beautiful pages look like. Alrighty then, until I see you guys again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Happy coloring. Bye.